So what I want to do is I want to go, and this slide is just sort of explaining a little bit more that went into the development of these heuristics. I wasn't involved specifically in the development of these, but I've used them. This set of heuristics actually was developed by a company that I work for. I've used these in the past. I think that they're pretty useful depending on what system you're evaluating. So let's kind of get into them. This is just an overview. There's nine heuristics in all that were developed, and we'll talk about most of them here. Option workability, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on. I think some of that's pretty self-explanatory. But I think the key word here is workability, right? So we're not talking about a system providing the operator with only the optimal solution, only the ideal solution. We're talking about a system that will help the operator come up with an option that's workable, that gets the job done. Because oftentimes in high pressure situations, the operator doesn't have time to come up with the most perfect solution. Oftentimes they're just trying to find something that works, right? So keeping that in mind when you're developing a system that's designed to support an operator, keeping in mind that they're interested in a workable solution, not necessarily an optimal solution, okay? This next one I want to focus on a bit more. I think this one is a pretty common heuristic that I think that applies to a lot of different cognitive systems. Q prominence, right? So Q prominence is typically related to visual systems that are providing a lot of visual information. And what it essentially means is Q prominence says that these systems really need to do a good job of highlighting the critical pieces of visual information on a display at any given time. Because oftentimes visual displays, particularly in complex cognitive systems, are providing a ton of visual information to the operator. There's a real risk of what's called visual clutter. So an operator looks at a display and there's icons and there's images everywhere, and they have to put a lot of cognitive effort into essentially filtering out all of the irrelevant information at the time and just focusing on the critical cues at that particular moment. So the idea here is, if you really want to help support the operator's work, if you want to design a system that's really going to help the operator, highlight the critical pieces of information. Develop that into your system so that the critical pieces of information are highlighted at any one given period of time. And I'm going to show you an example of that here in a minute. Okay, the next one is direct comprehension. And this just simply says that a system should not place the burden on the operator, force the operator to perform common manual calculations, right? So if an operator needs to often take 3 different pieces of information and integrate them, if that's a regular part of their job, then the system should do that for the operator. It shouldn't require the operator to have to take these multiple sources of data and integrate them on a regular basis. Just taking some of the workload off of the operator. Okay. So this is an example of a display in an air traffic control tower. This is an air traffic control operator would have to look at something like this, and you can see that there's a lot there. There's a lot of visual information on the display because the airspace is pretty crowded and there's a lot of aircraft flying around this particular airport. So what the display is doing is it's color coding the different sources of the different aircraft according to priority order. Which aircraft are in particular need of some sort of intervention, some sort of interaction by the air traffic control operator? Which aircraft do need to be redirected or need to be coordinated with? Because maybe they're in danger of collision, right? Or maybe they're low on fuel, or maybe they're at an inappropriate altitude, right? So what the system is doing is it's tracking that information and it's providing a very prominent cue to the operator so that the operator can really quickly hone in on the aircraft that need his attention.